All right, here we are, everybody. Another episode of Arizona's number one real estate and lifestyle podcast, The LOCKBOX, presented by the Grandon Group, Arizona's number one brother and sister real estate team. So, thank you for making us number one. I do appreciate that, and I hope you guys enjoy it. For those of you that are watching this, as you know, this is a podcast, and we're trying to make the switch over to video, so we're still learning. So those of you that are watching us, you're probably like, what are they thinking? But it's coming along. Hey, there's a lot going on here. We are in the first week of May. We're almost towards the end of spring, but in Arizona, it's kind of like summer. But we have had a perfect summer, or perfect spring so far. It's been beautiful. People are out and about. And so today, my wife and I, we were coming down to check out the brand new Caesars Republic in Scottsdale, the first Caesars Palace non-casino right here in Scottsdale. And it just so happens we ran into a guest who is running for Scottsdale City Council. So she agreed to come sit down with us and talk for a couple minutes about her love for Arizona and Scottsdale, and why she wants to take on the job of City Council again, since she's already a member. So follow us as we talk to City Councilwoman Tammy Caputi. Let's go check out the LOCKBOX. All right, so as I mentioned, hanging out here at Caesars Republic in downtown Scottsdale, and we ran into Miss Tammy Caputi. Is that how you say it?
Caputi, that's
Caputi,
perfect.
there you go.
Story. I grew up in a family business. My grandfather actually started the company, so our business in Boston is fourth generation.
Wow.
It was always my desire to work in the business. And I think I just mentioned to you, I got to a point, my dad took me aside and said, Tammy, the business is going to be for the boys. Your mother and I will take care of you. Can't make this up. So I moved out to Arizona and I started my own company, and I've kind of never looked back. So
Yeah, so Yale Electric, right?
Yale Electric West, because this is, we have a Yale Electric in Boston.
Okay.
Completely unrelated, but I wanted to distinguish myself as being sort of the western part of the family.
That is fantastic.
Here I am.
So start a business. Did you find it tough to start a business in a brand new state as a female in probably the biggest industry in Arizona, construction?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I actually went to work for a couple of competitors first so that I could learn this particular market and get some contacts, and that of course really helped. But I think I'm the only woman who is an electrical materials supplier, and so, you know, like starting any business, it's boots on the ground, lots and lots of work in the beginning, and now I'm sort of 20 years later, it's gotten quite a bit easier, but it's still a grind every day.
But you have a family too, so your husband and 3 kids?
Three
girls.
Yep. One in college, one in high school, one in middle school. So I'm literally just, I've got the whole thing covered.
No, that's great. So you stay busy with that, and then you decide to, and again, we don't get into politics, but she is running for city council, so we're going to talk about that. You're sitting there thinking you're working on some electrical stuff, and you're like, I'm going to run for city council. What are you thinking?
Well, first of all, I also want to say the great thing, so in my job, because I'm the owner of my company, so I wear every possible hat. Every day is different. Some days I'm negotiating a project, some days I'm procuring material, some days I'm out in the field. It's always a different day. The council is the exact same thing. It's like having a little, it's like getting a little mini master's in public policy every day. Some days I have to be a water expert. The next day I'm learning about traffic. The next day I'm learning about development. The next day it might be, trash. It's always different. And the kids too, right? I have college problems, high school problems, middle school problems. That's the way I roll. I love it. Every day is a challenge. Every day is different. Totally cool.
Well, so I think we can all agree Scottsdale and Arizona is probably the best place in the world to live. Why did you pick Scottsdale out of all the other really great cities we have out here?
Scottsdale is an aspirational city. People pay a premium to live here. We have the absolute best of everything. I call it our winning formula. The highest possible amenities. 40% of our city is open space. We have the strongest property values and the lowest property taxes. That is a beautiful formula. And in order to have the best of everything for the lowest amount of money, we have to have a vibrant economy, and that's what we do that really well in the city of Scottsdale. We have an amazing, vibrant economy here, 18,000 businesses. We are the second largest location for corporate headquarters only next to the city of Phoenix. And yet, we're not Phoenix. We are Scottsdale. Everyone wants to live here.
Right. So, and I grew up in Scottsdale on a big horse ranch. So what do you think, besides what you just said, the main appeal is to Scottsdale? I mean, you can golf, you can ride horses, bike.
Every day is a vacation in the city of Scottsdale. I always say that. I've lived here for almost 25 years now. I still feel like every single day is a vacation, right? Where else can you wake up in the morning on a Saturday? I live in North Scottsdale. I can literally be paddleboarding on Bartlett Lake at sunrise, move down Pima and ride my mountain bike at Pima and Dynamite, and then in the evening be down here in Old Town having dinner and great shopping and sophisticated hotels and nightlife. It's literally everything in one city. And with perfect weather.
And in case you're wondering, we are in front of a brand spanking new hotel. This is Caesar's Palace, first non-casino,
Caesar's Republic,
right?
Without a casino. So just fine dining and exceptional views and beautiful rooms and great energy. And it works perfectly in this area.
No, I think that's great. So one of the big things too, everybody, you have to work to get into Scottsdale. So I've had this conversation with various peoples, and the housing market out here is awesome. And I don't think everybody should live in Scottsdale, because I think you should have to earn it. Personally, I mean, that's just kind of my opinion. And we're in real estate, so we want to sell you homes and all that stuff. But what's your thoughts on short-term rentals? They've kind of got a bad rap lately because people rent their house out and they just throw these major parties, and it actually interferes with the neighborhoods.
It does. I thought you were going to go into an affordable housing conversation, which I'm happy to have too. But in terms of short-term rentals, if it were up to the city council, we would make short-term rentals illegal.
Right.
The bad apples have literally ruined it for everyone else. And neighborhoods should never have been commercial hotels.
No, I agree. And plus, we have some of the best hotels in the world here.
We do. And I think I mentioned to you, Scottsdale has been very careful about keeping economic activity in our growth areas, of which we have 3.
Right.
And we do that on purpose so that we can keep the residential neighborhoods quiet and residential and calm and enjoyable. And that's how you keep property values very high.
No, absolutely.
And our beautiful winning formula. Short-term rentals just don't seem to work well in the city of Scottsdale.
Right.
We're desperately trying to get control of that, and we have passed some new ordinances and regulations. We have the ability we're forcing people to license, we're collecting fines for folks who are, blowing the rules, and we're continually trying to push that needle. Whatever the state will allow us to do, we're trying to get a handle.
No, I'm with you, and as a realtor, it devalues neighborhoods. It's not good. It's not
people
good.
Aren't happy.
Right.
I mean, our job on council is we all live here as well, right? Every one of us is also a resident. We want the city to be amazing, and we want everyone to be healthy.
No, well, and with that said, and when we talk about short-term rentals, we're not talking about the second homeowners, because we love those people, the snowbirds, because we have 2 seasons here, spring and summer, right?
Yep.
So we love them coming here. But affordable housing, what is your thought on affordable housing?
It's tricky. I always try to explain this to people. So yes, we are an aspirational city. It costs more to live here. So it's always going to be relative. We've got to have a diversity of housing because we have 247,000 people, and not everyone wants to live on an acre of land in far North Scottsdale, right? So you've got to have a diversity of housing. The price of land in the city of Scottsdale is astronomical. So you're starting, projects have to pencil out. $1 million an acre, and then we want the best possible architecture. We want things to be low, and we don't want them to be dense, and we want you to build green, and we need you to recycle your water, and it starts going up and up and up, and then it's got to pencil out, right? So it's just literally math. It's very, very difficult to build housing at those lower rents or price points here in our city, again, with all of those requirements. And I certainly would never suggest that we lose our requirements, but again, we can't just have single-family homes on acre plots. It just simply doesn't work.
It doesn't make sense and stuff. I think when a lot of people, and this is kind of what we hear when they talk about affordable housing, they're thinking you're bringing in people that are not motivated to work. They just want to hang around, sit around all day. And I don't think that's really what affordable means.
It doesn't. 80% of our workforce right now is driving in and out of the city to work in the city of Scottsdale.
Right.
The problem with that is we complain a lot about traffic, again, 80% of our it's about 150,000 cars every day in and out of the city on our city streets. That is a lot of our traffic problem. So if you can offer a diversity of housing, again, 18,000 businesses, those people, some of them want to live in Scottsdale, right? You're decreasing commute times. You're offering more live, work, play, so that you've got vibrant areas.
Right.
Again, you're not building that type of thing in a residential neighborhood. You're trying to aggregate it in places where we have employment, where it makes sense. So,
well, this is one thing you'll probably know, and I don't know. It seems, being a native out here, it seems this year people are staying longer, which is also, making your job a little more difficult because the transportation system is just getting more and more crowded.
Yes, that's a whole
Sorry,
other
put you on the hook
topic.
there.
No, I was going to finish my topic though about housing in the South. Oh, I have a friend who was talking about. He's got a couple of kids who grew up in Scottsdale, and now they're both getting married. They've gone away to college, coming back. They can't afford a place in Scottsdale, and so they're both looking in the West Valley, right? Like Chandler, Gilbert. And he said to me, the problem with that is his daughters will end up finding a home there. They're going to get married. They're going to settle down. Their kids are going to get in a school district, and then we lose them.
Right.
So we literally closed the door to that next generation. And again, in order to have a vibrant, healthy city, we need people of all ages. We need people who work and people who don't. We need snowbirds. We need residents who live here all year long. We need to have a diversity. Unless we offer different price points for housing, we're sort of going to end up in this Sun City model where,
I can see
right,
that. Absolutely,
where
absolutely.
it shifts the demographic,
Right.
and that doesn't make for a good and vibrant city. And that's part of the affordability challenge.
No, and actually you can see that in some of the communities, even close by. The parents maybe leave the house to the kids, and the kids just keep living in their houses, getting run down, and they're not really contributing like they should.
Right. It's
So-
always, we always have to, there's so many items to always be looking at. That's the thing. There's no easy fix. Anyone can name a problem. What are the solutions?
Right.
And we need to think about the city holistically, right? You're not solving a problem here or here. You've got to think about, I said before, there's water, there's transportation, there's housing, there's healthcare, there's development. You're always trying to balance the different needs. We've got the south of the city, the central of the city, the north of the city, and all the different pieces have to work together.
No, absolutely. Now, with that said,
Yeah, transportation.
well, okay, even so you would agree that Scottsdale, while it's 31, 32 miles long.
Yep.
So I think you'd probably agree that there's probably 3 or 4 different sections. I mean, we have a rural section of Scottsdale, which
Yep.
is kind of where we're at,
Yep.
and then you've got downtown. So how do you take that into consideration when you have the people south here, they want one thing, people north want a different thing? That's got to be a headache.
I actually think that's why I support, we are all at large. And that is what I love about my job on council. Because I'm at large, it forces me to do things like this. I have a coffee every single month, and I revolve all over the city. And I'm very careful and thoughtful about making sure that I visit and speak with people from all of the different sections of the city, because you do have to balance the needs. Absolutely, people in the South have a different perspective and different things that they want from people in the North. And I think it's super important to be plugged into all of the different demographics
Absolutely.
that we have here. And I take that into account with every decision that I make. So, yes, we are a large, diverse, interesting, complex city, and that's why it's getting political for 1 minute. That's why we need council members who have experience, who have
Absolutely.
historical knowledge, who have an understanding of how the city runs, and who can balance all of those different needs.
Absolutely. And, so you live up north, so there's a lot of horses. Some of the city council people have no idea. I'm not sure they know what a horse is. So, and there's a lot of horse owners out here, equine. So you have to take that into consideration with the people that ride bikes. Our roads are, they're getting better, but we've got tons and tons of bike riders lately.
Yeah, we're a gold level bike city, so we try to, again, we have people riding bikes, we have pedestrians, and we have cars. And we need to balance all of
Right.
those needs. It's always a balance.
Now, what about the events coming to town? Everybody wants to do their event in Scottsdale, and it seems that they end up in a different city, but everybody ends up in Scottsdale.
It's the best, and that is, again, back to our winning formula. We have the highest amenities and open space, the strongest property values, the lowest property taxes, the reason we have the lowest property taxes is because we have all these other folks coming to our city, spending their money. So it's made up of, a lot of it is tourism, and that is absolutely part of the winning formula.
What's your thoughts on keeping Arizona the most western town? Is that still a viable statement, or are we past that?
Scottsdale, you mean?
Scottsdale, yeah.
I think it's really important to remember our roots. Historical Old Town will always stay historic. People love to do that. But, you know, you get the flavor of the West. You also want the sophistication of a modern city. I think that's why people love Scottsdale. Again, you're always on vacation here. You can be in historic Old Town. You can be out on our beautiful hiking trails, experience the authenticity of the desert. Then you can go and have an amazing dinner. You can come to Caesars and hang out.
Absolutely. And this is funny, talking about hiking trails. Don't you love the people that have never been here to Arizona before, and they see a rattlesnake on the trail, and they take their phone, and they're like, hey, I'm going to take a picture, and then they get bit.
It's true.
It is true.
Yeah.
There's not that many snakes, though. It's usually pretty good.
That's funny.
So, okay, so this is a question we had, and this was off of Twitter, X or whatever they're called these days.
I know.
So this one might be a little political, but who knows? Okay, so
everything is political.
Everything. Isn't it crazy? Everything is. You can't order a pizza without being,
It is crazy,
making somebody
actually.
mad.
And the one thing I love about City Council is that it is legitimately attempting to try to be one of the last nonpartisan places, right?
Right.
We have to make our decisions, as I keep saying, based on not just, I said to you before, people like to talk about the residents. There is no monolithic group of residents.
Right.
We have so many different types of residents, and we need to represent them all. And it doesn't fall on typical partisan lines. It's north, it's south, it's central, it's working and not working, it's parents and not parents, it's, people who care about bikes and people who don't. It's everything. It's not DRI. It's all of the residents, and that's the wonderful thing.
No, and actually, you want to keep growing and bringing people in. So you have to grow, but you want to keep everybody happy as well.
Right.
So,
and again, diversity of opinion. But you were going to ask me a question from Twitter.
Okay, so the Twitter question. This is a pretty good one. So what's more important for our city right now? And we're talking with everything going on. Building new homes and commercial spaces, or rehabbing, expanding, and better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
That's going around on Twitter?
Well, that's the question they ask. So from the city council.
Okay. First of all, the city is just about all built out. So let me just explain to you that we are landlocked, and most of it is built. We are no longer being able to build a planned community like McCormick Ranch or Scottsdale.
No, exactly.
Those days are over. So people who are like, oh, we need to be building more single-family homes, there is no more available land. We're not going to see that anymore.
I think they're talking more about the high-rises, quite honestly. So it's getting rid of some areas, changing zoning and going up and down.
In other words, taking a commercial building and making a little bit of residential?
Exactly.
Okay, so the market has changed, and this isn't necessarily the city. This is capitalism, right?
Right,
and you're
absolutely.
in real estate.
Yep.
So when you get a shopping center that is completely dead, which we are now seeing,
right?
The developer will go in and say, what's going to work here, as opposed to leaving it a dirt lot, which is just going to collect transients.
And we're going through that right now at Indian School and Miller, right?
There are several places in the city where it's become a dirt lot. And you can't force someone to build something that the market is not asking for.
No, exactly.
And so if it makes sense to make a more mixed-use development with retail on the bottom, a little bit of residential, great. Let's repurpose where it makes sense in a way that can revitalize and reinvent and keep the city flowing. Again, we're always trying to maintain our balance of having the 3 growth areas and leaving our residential neighborhoods alone, which is wonderful. But we don't want blight and vagrancy. We want areas of economic activity that are vibrant, that are refreshing, that are looking forward, that are part of the economic engine that allows us to keep 40% open space, to pay for our parks, our preserve, and all the things we love about Scottsdale.
No, absolutely. And I think part of this comes from, for those of you that have been out here, Scottsdale and McDowell had some old buildings about 10 years ago, had some really old buildings, and you had the old dead mall that was there. Because I used to work, and I used to work at the haunted house at Los Arcos Mall. Remember that? So that's kind of what we're talking about there. 'Cause we know originally it was going to be a kind of like a Whole Foods or a Aldo's.
It is still.
And then now it's
There's
a
gonna be
beautiful
a
hotel or
mixed
apartments.
use.
Mixed
Because
use.
that's what right.
With great views, by the way.
It's great to revitalize the neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
And again, if the market is requiring that there be some housing with some retail, that's a win for absolutely everyone. Again, even if the city council could say we only want, this particular thing there. Again, this isn't a planned economy. I think you and I talked about.
No, absolutely not.
This is
Absolutely
free market
not.
enterprise. We don't say this store must go in this spot. We let the market dictate, and we have zoning in place. But we want these centers to be thriving and successful, and we want the residents to be happy, and we want to keep the city the gold standard of the valley.
Absolutely.
And that's how we do it. But we're careful. Again, you mentioned the word high-rise. We are sitting here in Old Town, right at Fashion Square. There is one 150-foot building, too, in the city of Scottsdale. That's the tallest you could ever build.
Right.
And it's right here.
And
waterfront towers, and that's it.
And that's it. And if they didn't build this here, this would still be that rundown hotel and that vacant lot.
It
was there for years.
So we are very careful with heights. We try to put them in places where it makes sense, and we're not, again, everybody has this, you're overbuilding. Everyone is being incredibly thoughtful on our council about where the development goes, how tall it is, how dense it is. Our rules and our regulations are very strict, and we stay within our plans.
Well, and now everybody on the council, but we're talking about Tammy here, and if you
this is my day.
This is her day. This is her day. So if you're, first of all, she's very accessible. I mean, wouldn't you say? I mean, try not to bug her at the gym when she's in the middle of a set.
Do not bother me in the middle of a set. That's a great point.
But
any other time.
Now, so it's not free to run for council, and so any help is always appreciated, right?
I'm always
volunteers, money, whatever.
All of those things.
How can people reach out to you?
I can be found on every single channel at Tammy Caputi. So you can call me, you can write to me, you can visit my website. I've got 3 different emails: work, play, and city.
and I would suggest for those of you coming out to Scottsdale, reach out to Tammy, reach out to the other people running for council. She's already on the council, so she's running for re-election. Reach out to her because she claims she is not always right. We were just here listening to people, and she's actually taking notes and taking ideas.
It's true. Also, I am running for re-election. People keep asking me why, and I jokingly am like, God, I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty...
Well, we have to ask why, because let's face it, you're not getting rich on that job. You don't make anything, and you're running a nice company.
Business. I've got my 3 kids, but somebody has to do it. I was jokingly going to say, God, I don't know why I'm running, but we need people who have skin in the game. We need people who are still working, who have kids in our school district, who are plugged into the city. But what I was going to say about running for re-election that I think is so important is that the residents have already invested 4 years in me.
Right.
I am at the point where the learning curve is over. I know how to do this job. I know the players both inside and outside of the city. I understand how to get the best possible deals. I get how all the parts fit together to make a better whole. And these next 4 years, if I'm honored enough to have the people's vote, I can be so much more effective. I'm ready to go.
No, that's great. That's great.
And I'm excited to do it.
So, Tammy at TammyCaputi.com. It's CAPUTI. Make sure you guys know that, and we'll put it on this thing.
Perfect.
Now, real quick, we got to ask about your family. So you got 3 daughters, a husband.
Yep.
What's your favorite thing to do?
With my kids, always something outdoors. All 3 of my daughters are very athletic, and my husband is a pretty badass mountain biker. But we love to hike, we love to bike, we love to be outside. I mean, that's why I live here. So
no, perfect.
Outdoors.
And it is packed. So Tammy, thanks for coming down here and sitting with us and stuff. This was great.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you want to tell everybody? Just get out there and vote.
Yeah,
you got to make sure you vote.
I do have something else I want to tell people. We are having a primary early this year. It's actually July 30th, and I would recommend that absolutely everyone vote in the primary.
Absolutely.
So it's important to get involved, and it's important to vote early.
And listen, if you can get involved without being elected, right? So there's different things. So reach out to Tammy, talk to her about your concerns or how great they're doing and everything else. And not everything is political. So you can just have a good conversation with her, and you'll realize why you love Scottsdale, because the same reason she moved from Boston.
That's it.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Hey, everybody.
Enjoy the day.
Thanks for watching another episode of LOCKBOX, brought to you by the Grandon Group, Arizona's #1 brother and sister real estate team. You guys have a good one, and thanks again for making us #1. See you soon.